And a good Tuesday evening, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Panday. Just wanted to dive in here to our streaming platforms and talk a little bit more in depth about potential impacts here from Tropical Storm Debby that still is sitting in the southeastern portions of the United States. So let's talk about impacts here locally. We have gone ahead and declared Thursday and Friday to be weather alert days for impactful weather impacts from Debby coming our way. And that's going to be in the form of heavy rain and the increasing threat of some flooding across portions of Hampton Roads, northeastern North Carolina, and really pretty much all of the eastern seaboard as this will slowly lift its way off to the north. So something that we saw already today were intermittent tropical downpours. Expect those to become more numerous, more widespread over the coming days, and it's going to grow the likelihood of some flooding for portions of the area. And even into the day on Thursday, with the forecast track, the center of circulation of Debby, the remnants of Debby, tracking by to our west, this would put us into a favorable environment with increased spin in the atmosphere. So that introduces a low-end tornado threat Thursday afternoon and evening that I'll show you a little bit more in detail on Futurecast in just a minute. First, let's start off with the NHC advisory of 5 o'clock on Tropical Storm Debby. So we're getting advisories and updates from the Hurricane Center every 3 hours. The next one coming up at 8 o'clock. The 5 o'clock advisory as well as the 11 and then the 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. do have track updates. The intermittent advisories are the 8 o'clock and the 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. ones. This one here did update the forward movement. Check that out. East-northeast at 3 miles per hour. Yesterday evening, it was moving at 6. That was slow. This is even slower. So we had talked about the possibility of this slowing down and maybe even stalling out in this general area off the South Carolina coastline. But its east-northeast movement will eventually put it back over open water. And of course, tropical systems use the warm ocean waters as fuel. Before it made landfall, it got up to Category 1 hurricane strength. It weakened down to a tropical storm, right now sitting at only 40-mile-per-hour winds. 39-mile-per-hour winds or greater puts it at a tropical storm, so it's barely there. But as it moves back over the open waters of the southwest Atlantic, we'll likely see a little bit of an uptick in intensification, pushing its sustained wind speeds maybe up to 50, 55 miles per hour. But that is not going to be the legacy of Debby, the wind speed. This is not a big wind-making storm. It is a slow-moving storm and a catastrophic flooding storm, especially in the southeast where they have picked up already a foot of rain from areas between Savannah up to Charleston, South Carolina. And there is more to come. But the bigger picture here does show kind of a fetch of tropical moisture. I'll draw it in here so you can get a better feel for it. It's kind of just pushing in from the south and southeast and moving to the north and west. And that is driving tropical waves up and over North Carolina, all the way up into Virginia as well. So we are already feeling the fringe effects from Debby, despite it being hundreds of miles still to our south and west. Here's a look at 5-day rainfall projections for the entire region. And it still shows additional rain in areas that have seen a foot of another 7 to as much as 10 inches. And that 7 to 10 inch swath does stretch up into central North Carolina, up through Raleigh, 4 to 6 inches of rain up into northeastern North Carolina, and up into Southside Virginia, southeastern Virginia, 2 to 4 inches. And I think that could be on the low end of what some areas end up seeing from now, between now and Saturday midday or so, when I expect things to taper on off. So this is going to be a significant rainmaker. And in a lot of areas that are already saturated, this will be impactful in the way of flooding. Overwhelmed drainage basins, swollen creeks and rivers, certainly going to be a problem. So this is the 5 o'clock advisory from the Hurricane Center with a track. As I mentioned, that was new. They tweaked it a little bit. I want you to take note of the first couple frames here down at the bottom of your screen of the potential track of Debby. I mean, it doesn't move very far between now and Thursday at 2 p.m. The next 36 hours, it's still over South Carolina. I mentioned how it reemerges over water. See, it upticks its wind speed at 10 miles per hour up to 50 miles per hour by tomorrow afternoon, and then makes a secondary landfall likely to the northwest, or excuse me, northeast of Charleston, probably near Myrtle Beach, as a little bit stronger tropical storm at that point. Now, there still is the possibility of storm surge, again, to the east of the storm center here with the onshore flow, Myrtle Beach, up into Wilmington, North Carolina. They could still see some storm surge here. but the bigger, more widespread impact will be the flooding threat. Now it does move slowly for the next 36 hours, but it will have an interaction with a cold front, and I'll show you here on Futurecast. There's the front well off to the northwest, right? Watch what happens as we play this out. Right up through tomorrow morning, it is still pretty much meandering off the South Carolina coast. Still into Wednesday evening, it's still there, makes that secondary landfall near Myrtle Beach, but the moisture butts up against that inbound cold front. So that'll help to enhance and kind of spread out the moisture field of this, and even the wind field too. It'll be breezy up and down the southeastern United States, up into the mid-Atlantic, but nothing, catastrophic. But the rainfall will also be spread out. Fast forward into Thursday afternoon and evening, that moisture begins to spread out even more along that boundary, and eventually the system itself gets picked up and pulled to the north by that cold front, and that will increase its forward speed. So at least it'll be moving quicker as it moves through our area and eventually up into the mid-Atlantic and northeast, but still going to bring a lot of tropical moisture and tropical rainfall. So that track being by to our west, up probably along and even maybe west of the I-95 corridor, does put us into that favorable environment. There's increased spin based on the overall circulation of Debby interacting with the friction of land. So there's already introduced spin, and that makes it a little bit easier for some storms to spin up some tornadoes. So the environment overall favorable, dynamics are there. Storm Prediction Center has us at a level 1 out of a 5-tiered system in terms of severe weather. So level 1 for our entire area. So the threat is low, but it's not 0. So that's something we're going to be keeping our eyes on Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening when we see the center of circulation pushing up into central North Carolina and then eventually up just to our west. Overall impacts here is going to be rainfall. That's the #1 hazard for this in flooding. 2 to 6 inches overall. There could be some locally higher numbers than that. Winds, I'm not overly concerned about that. I think it will be breezy Thursday evening and a Friday. We may see some gusts maybe reaching up to 40 miles per hour at the immediate coastline. I think that's the extent of it. That low-end tornado threat as well, the level 1 out of 5 severe threat Thursday evening in terms of our severe weather. Power outages, low threat of there. There probably will see a few spots that let's see some power outages, but it won't be widespread. All right, here's a look at radar, a loop over the last 4 hours. We had a couple downpours, tropical downpours pivot on through from the southeast lifting northwest. And as they built farther to the north, it's a little bit more stable up towards Richmond, so that fell apart. We still have rain developing down to the south. You can see your south side is pretty quiet. But down to the south and northeastern North Carolina, pretty widespread light to moderate rain. Notice it's trying to build its way north, but a little bit more stable air mass building on into southern Virginia. So it's going to erode some of that, but I do still expect some rain showers and maybe even some downpours to build on into our area overnight tonight. You can see modeling here. We'll start things off now. Pretty good initialization here, showing some of that light to moderate rain building up into southern Virginia. Later on tonight, I think it's with us on and off overnight. And then tomorrow and through most of the day, we'll see on and off waves of tropical downpours. Now, if you remember a couple weeks ago when we had those heavy downpours, I talked about and explained what PWATs are, precipitable water. Our PWATs right now, well, let me explain again what that is in case you didn't see it. So basically you take a column of air and you compress it down and squeeze out all the moisture of it. Our PWATs right now are in the range of 2, 2¼ inches. So when we take a column of air and squeeze it all out, we get 2½ inches of moisture. That's the amount of moisture that's available to fall as precipitation. So that's why these downpours will produce such heavy rainfall rates as they get going over the next couple of days. So through the day on Wednesday, we've got the threat for heavy downpours. This will continue into Wednesday afternoon, into Wednesday night. You see here on Futurecast showing on and off downpours. That becomes more numerous through the day on Thursday, and I'm thinking even into Friday as well. So a prolonged event for that heavy rainfall threat. You can see here it's not raining all the time, but when it does, it has a higher likelihood of overwhelming drainage basins and leading to some flash flooding and street flooding. Here's a look at that flood outlook. So for today, out of a 4-tiered flood threat system, level 1, south side and northeastern North Carolina. Look what happens into tomorrow. We jump up to a level 2 in south side and northeastern North Carolina, still level 1 up through the peninsula and eastern shore. And then getting into Thursday, most of the area at this point now under a level 2 threat, but look off to the I-95 corridor up to a level 3, and by Raleigh up to a level 4 in that pink or that purple shading out there. So higher flood risk coming our way Thursday into Friday. Rainfall projections here, we're going to go through now through Saturday. This is the European solution. It's been pretty consistent, showing 2 to 4 inches for most. Some exceptions on the higher end, 4 to 5 to maybe 6 inches, locally higher totals than that. I will tell you the graph model, one of our in-house short-range, higher resolution models, does show some significantly higher totals than that going up through Thursday evening. So we'll see as we get into more of the high-res range, which would be starting tomorrow onwards. We may see these totals come up. It's going to really depend, of course, on where the center of Debby tracks. If it's farther to the west, we see that heavy rainfall corridor getting focused farther to the west. If it tracks, say, along the I-95 corridor, we would be in the corridor of the heaviest rain. If it tracks west of there, it moves farther west as well. So all dependent on where it goes. Weather Service preemptively has the majority of the area under a flood watch, and this goes active tomorrow evening through Friday evening. And that's for the enhanced threat, as you saw, from those heavy rainfall totals causing some flooding. We are very saturated out there, too. You got to keep that in mind. We've had several weeks of a lot of rain. We came off one of the wettest Julys on record, the 11th wettest, I should say. Picked up over 10 inches of rain last month, so we are saturated. So here's the forecast going forward. 78 tonight, occasional showers. We're mostly cloudy as well out there, and some of those showers could be on the heavier side, maybe a rumble of thunder too. Tomorrow up to 83, so normal this time of the year is 88. The increased cloud cover, rain showers, downpour, storms will keep temperatures down. And if it pours for a prolonged period of time, it'll drop us into the 70s too, but it will still be very humid. Our winds southeast, that fetch coming in off the Atlantic, those warm ocean waters, keeping things very, very moist. Our rain chances for the foreseeable future is up, but I do want to highlight some positive signals here. The trend for this weekend is looking better. Now, Saturday, I think we see rain chances still up in the morning hours, but trending drier and lower rain chances through the second half of Saturday, and Sunday looking better too. So I do think we salvage at least half of the upcoming weekend as this storm will pick up forward speed and move out of here quicker, I think, than what models are showing. So hopefully this is a positive trend that continues over the coming days and we can kind of dry things out this weekend. Speaking of the weekend, here's a look at that forecast. Saturday, 88. I've got a 40% rain chance still, I think mostly earlier in the day. That may even trend lower and even earlier and gone by Friday night, potentially. Sunday, still improving weather, 20% rain chance, maybe isolated, up to 85 degrees in the afternoon. So here's the extended forecast, our weather alert days for Thursday and Friday. We still got downpours tomorrow. I think it's more widespread Thursday and Friday, plus that severe risk, that tornado threat Thursday afternoon and evening. We'll keep an eye on Saturday, improving weather. Sunday looks better, and Monday finally drying out with a return of mostly sunny skies and temperatures pretty seasonable. So that's the latest update for you on Debby and what it looks like for our impacts coming here locally. For the end of the week. Just overall, a very unsettled pattern going on through the day of Friday and the early parts of the weekend. But I do see some positive trends with some improving weather for the weekend. We're going to have another update just like this on our streaming platforms coming your way tomorrow morning from Taylor Stephenson, who will be in for Craig Moeller. She'll be going into the latest model trends and updates for you on the storm track as we get closer and closer to seeing more widespread impacts from Debby. But until then, I hope you'll join us on 13 News Now at 11 on the TV side of things. We'll have an updated forecast. We will have a new update from the Hurricane Center at 8 o'clock and 11, so new data coming your way. And I hope you join me then. We'll see you later.